By the end of that winter, nearly every homestead in the valley would lose something important. Some lost their livestock, some lost their homes, a few lost their lives, and one man lost nothing. Not because he was stronger, not because he had more supplies, but because months earlier he built something so strange that his neighbors laughed at him every time they rode past. A long, low tunnel made of canvas and poles, stretching from his front door all the way to his woodshed. Useless, they said. A waste of materials, they joked. They were wrong. In the late 1800s, winter wasn't an inconvenience, it was a verdict. And firewood wasn't just fuel, it was heat, it was cooking, it was light, it was survival itself. Most settlers followed tradition. They stacked their logs tight against the cabin walls, trusting the roof eaves and the rising heat from inside to keep the wood mostly dry. But tradition didn't account for the wind. Wind doesn't just pass by a structure, it curls around it, it eddies, it forces fine, sharp snow into every crack. That snow melts slightly in the midday sun, refreezes at night, and turns a perfect stack of firewood into a solid block of frozen stone. And once your wood freezes solid, the cold has already won. But one homesteader living on a ridge overlooking the valley saw this coming. While others prepared for the cold, he prepared for the moisture. Instead of reinforcing his roof or chinking his walls again, he built that covered passage, a narrow, breathable corridor connecting his cabin directly to his wood supply. It wasn't airtight, it wasn't insulated like a house, it wasn't meant to be comfortable, it was meant to be stable. A controlled transition between the inside world and the outside world, what we'd now call a buffer zone. The storm hit fast. Snow piled 5 feet deep in 2 days. The wind erased paths as quickly as they were shoveled. Across the valley, you could hear the desperate sound of axes ringing against ice-coated logs. Families fought the elements just to reach their fuel. And when they finally got it inside, the wet wood just smoked and hissed in the fireplace instead of burning. Inside those cabins, the fires struggled. The heat vanished. Children shivered under blankets. Wet fuel doesn't heat a home. It wastes all its energy boiling its own moisture away. Meanwhile, on the ridge, the man walked calmly through his tunnel. The tunnel didn't stop the storm, it neutralized it. Inside that canvas passage, the air stayed dry, the ground stayed clear, snow couldn't drift or refreeze. The rounded canvas roof shed the weight of the snow and deflected the wind, and the earth beneath it provided just enough radiant warmth to prevent ice from forming. This wasn't luck, it was physics. By avoiding the sudden temperature changes, the wood never absorbed moisture. By eliminating exposure, the man conserved his fuel instead of wasting it on a losing battle with ice. He burned less wood and stayed warmer. When the thaw finally came, the truth was laid bare across the valley. Cabins below stood damaged, their woodpiles ruined. Some had even started burning their own floors for fuel. But the man on the ridge emerged healthy. His remaining firewood was dry and perfectly cured. His shelter was intact. The tunnel was gone, folded and stored away for next year, but its impact remained. What saved him wasn't special equipment, it wasn't brute strength, it was foresight. Survival, it turns out, isn't always about fighting nature head-on. It's about understanding it well enough to step around it. The most effective solutions often look foolish at first because they don't follow tradition or habit. That canvas tunnel was never a joke. It was passive survival design, using simple materials to control an environment without burning an ounce of extra energy. And the real lesson is this: sometimes the difference between surviving winter and becoming a part of its history is the willingness to look ridiculous long before anyone else realizes you were right. So, would you have built the tunnel, or would you have laughed with the neighbors?